Let me get this straight. You blew up a building.
2 CIs and the CEO of 22andU.
Two competing federal agencies with the same mission.
I don't understand why those Fed a-holes are so darn mean.
To protect the public from the scourge of dangerous misinformation.
You know those bum idiots. This is all them. We had a solid case.
The word entrapment, not even in their vocabulary.
The explosives we provided were fake.
Sworn to a duty to always tell the truth.
We have no indication at this time that this was a deliberate act.
We're all being transferred.
To where?
The only place currently with openings. Alaska.
Good morning.
Welcome to the office, huh?
And we got the retro feel. You know, the funny about federal buildings, they're all different, but they're still somehow all the same.
Oh, good morning, Agent Walker. At the coffee station. We actually drew straws before he got here, and I won, so we get to work together.
Let's get started. Let's see if we can't stir something up.
Let's give it a minute. I like to warm up my truth muscles, a little coffee beforehand.
Well, what do you want to do first?
What do we have for a surveillance van?
Oh, wow. I got a Ford Explorer. We don't have a surveillance van.
Do you put many cases here?
Cases?
Yeah, cases. We're the tip of the spear when it comes to protecting American democracy.
You really believe this? You really believe that people posting crap online is going to cause our country to crumble?
I think the work that we do is important.
We don't have a surveillance van.
Me and people got one. We've never needed one.
We need a surveillance van. We need a big case or a CI who can lead us to a big case.
What do you need the van for?
Surveillance.
CIs, or confidential informants, are the lifeblood of any good law enforcement agency. Public posts on social media are one of the best ways to find CIs. Agents would never use coercion or take things out of context to try and persuade someone to become a confidential informant.
New Taylor Swift single is absolute fire. I'm just seeing a lot of incendiary and violent language here.
Agents always need to be on their toes and ready to make snap decisions.
Is there anything I can do for you guys? Actually, David, there is something you can do for us.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets.
What?
Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. McDonald's cheeseburger.
Burger King.
Burger King cheeseburger.
Flame broiled.
And chicken nuggets.
Oh, baby, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be your beaver pilot. Said, honey, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be.
Awesome, right?
Is this a loner?
This thing's totally legit.
What is this? It's got windows!
All right. Welcome to the show on a Thursday night. Oh, I sound so I did get my new audio stuff set up. And it sounds pretty good. I think it sounds actually a little low though. So I got all the way up. So I might have to do this a little bit. Let's try that. Can't, oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. I'm liking it. Maybe up a little bit more. How about that? Maybe up a little more. Let's see what that does. I am listening to yourself, though, is never the funnest time. Let me try a little compression here. Trying a little compression to see what that does, if I like that or not. Let's see now. All right. We are cooking. I think so. Yeah, I think I'm liking it. I think I'm liking it. Yeah, so all right, we are here. We are all right, let me get this out of my ear so I don't have to hear myself repeating everything all the time. And let me check one other thing. All right, I think that, yes. Although I can't hear myself anymore, I'm making adjustments anyway. All right, well, welcome to the show. If I have to answer my phone, I might be a little distracted tonight, but not too much. But we are going to be missing a little. One of our audience members is having some issues. That would be my mom. So, we're all hoping everything is okay. She is undergoing some tests right now. So, my most dedicated person is a little under the weather tonight, so we will see. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm getting updates on it. We'll see. It sounds like everything's pretty mild right now, but we're crossing our fingers and praying, making sure that everything's good. And yeah, so like I said, I'm waiting on updates, and I'm sure she'll be back in the chat room in no time at all. At least that's my that is my hopes. So we had no trial today. We had no trial tomorrow. Oh yeah, we have the big announcement coming tomorrow for the show, and I'll mention that again. So a little bit later. We have 20. That's why we're just going to fire into it because we got a lot to go through. But we have 20 days of trial that we are going to get through. So let's go look at it. All right, share. And bam. All right, we start out with the fan, of course.
Way in.
There is the fan. And oh, I know, it feels like months. It feels like it's been damn months.
Nobody said anything to Mr. Clerk about needing to see me, but I received 4 motions over this weekend that I
hearing last week.
We
We should have
start off
covered a
with
lot of this
motions.
stuff, and we have.
Then we have the reading.
marks to you to acquaint you.
County of Bristol, on or about January 29, 2022, at Canton in the County of Norfolk.
We have the reading of
Do
the
operate a motor
charges.
vehicle upon a way as defined in General Law, Chapter 90, Section 1, or in a place to which the public has a right of access, or upon a way or in a place to which members of the public have access as invitees or licensees, with a percentage by weight of alcohol in their blood of 8/100ths or greater, or while under the influence of intoxicating liquor, and did so operate said motor vehicle so that the lives and safety of the public might be endangered. and by such wanton and reckless conduct so described, you caused the death of another person, to wit, John O'Keefe, in violation of General Law, Chapter 265, Section 13.
All right. So, yeah, we know she's charged. Then we have the reading of the
Responsibility to resolve any conflicts in testimony that may arise during the course of the trial and to determine where the truth lies. Ultimately, you must determine whether or not the Commonwealth has proved the charges be at any other.
blah, 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 blah. Then we have Hanky.
He saw 3 women surrounding a man lying, not moving on the ground. He walked up to the man and he reached down and he tried to find any signs of life, pulse, anything. And he found nothing. And he got up and he walked over to the woman and he walked over to that defendant, Karen Reed, and he told her that he thinks that man was gone. And then he heard the yell from Anthony Flamati, the chief of the station, who learned from the science and data as he stood by the side of the road, the defendant and her.
Science and data. We got told by Hank that the science and data would help us decide this case.
Information, data, not just the cell phone data, but there's some other very important data. And the other piece of data that goes hand in glove with the cell phone is information on the defendant.
Oh boy, did we get some data.
After a small amount of time, well, that was captured in the defendant's Lexus. That black box information with the cell phone will tell you everything you need.
When we were here at opening ceremonies, Jesus. Opening statements, maybe. And we heard all about the black box and the cell phone and the data extraction. Did we really have any idea what we were in for? Did we have any idea that we would be in for the show that was Man Shannon? No. Nobody could have prepared us for the show that was Man Shannon.
Step by step through the entire night to that 12. And you'll see that the ignition goes on to the defendant's Lexus. And both John O'Keefe and the defendant in the car, and they decide that they're going to go back to 34th Fairview. You will be able to follow them to this location data.
I hate when they do this.
Pulled behind the car. When she does, she's on Bluetooth, but she can hear the defendant saying, "My taillight's broken, my taillight's broken." This increase for reasonable degree of medical certainty to thousands of patients. And this reasonable degree of medical certainty is counter-proof caused by falling backwards and hitting your head. When the medical examiner for the state looked at it, they generally said blunt force trauma. They had it undetermined. So we brought it to the renowned neurosurgeon.
Yeah, no, it does. It's kind of why it came out that way.
Damn it, law and crime.
What I talked about, how the data from that black box coincides with the cell phone and the movements of the car. There are 3 John O'Keefe dead, died with no help. The facts, the data, and the evidence will bring you the truth, and the defendant's own words will confirm everything you've already concluded.
Look, he looks like a slime ball. I mean, this guy looks like a sleazy used car salesman. Scumbag. That's the only way to describe Hank Brennan, is a sleazy, slimy. Yes.
Oh my God, AJ, clean it up.
Just a moment to readjust.
Sure,
Man, above everything else, this case will establish above everything else 3 points.
Yeah.
There was no collision with.
All right. For this one, we got to go to. All right. I was just going to stick with AV, but now I got to go to. Got to go to Emily and her 3 points because that was too funny.
In this case, will establish above everything else 3 points.
3 points.
There was no collision with John O'Keefe.
Was no collision.
There was no collision. There was no collision. John O'Keefe did not die from being hit by a vehicle. Period. The facts will show that. Members of the jury, Karen Reed found John O'Keefe dead on the front lawn of a Boston police officer, Brian Albert, at 6 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Picture the scene. Blood-curdling screams. Speculation, not based on surmise, not based on guesswork or conjecture, but the actual true facts that you will learn through the course of this trial. On January 28th, 2022, it was a Friday night. Side of the evidence will show that these injuries are from an animal, like a large dog.
Injuries. Yeah, we haven't even. Yeah. All right, we'll stick with the prosecution's cases. That's what it is right now.
I'm not going to spoil it.
When they were
at the prosecution,
not one civilian reported having heard Karen Reed say, "I hit him." No DNA on a single shard of plastic that they claim cut deep abrasions into John's arm, the arm that you saw overhead.
Good.
All right, so
with the evidence, the science, the truth, and justice, not guilty.
For justice.
Not guilty. Not guilty. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Yep. All right. Opening statements. And we start off with Nutty.
The hospital.
Not all.
I was brand new and very young, so I started on the transfer side, kind of learning the job. I started primarily in the city of Chelsea, Everett Mall, once we got on scene.
This guy was so trained. He was trained to say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
But you've now had 3 conversations.
To Mr. Brennan that it was actually 3 times, not 2 times that you heard the I hit him. Why did you need to discuss it again a week later to verify that 3 times versus 2 times?
Not sure, sir. That was just the way that the conversation went.
We kept talking about it.
And I just, again, repeated what I said and what I remember from that morning.
Well, tell me about that conversation. Did Mr. Brennan say anything like, well, are you really sure that she said it 3 times?
It was that morning what was said to you. And I said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Your memory of him having that big puffy coat on, which stood out in your mind, was just as clear as the other specifics that you've testified to about the case.
Yes, sir.
About that night.
For all of you asking.
Which stood out in your mind, was just as clear as the other specifics.
Yeah, last year he was the one that said, oh, he had a big puffy coat on. Or there was no big puffy coat. All right, so not all. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And we still get, I mean,
yes, sir.
We get a lot of cross-examination here.
It's a very detailed memory.
Yes, sir.
You indicated, Mr. Brennan, that sticks out in your mind. Is that right?
It does.
Did it stand out to you that all of his injuries, all of them that you saw, other than the cut on the back of the head, that they were all on his right side?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice any hematomas on his left side?
I did not.
Did you notice any scratches or abrasions on his left side?
I did not.
Did you notice any marks that would be consistent with an altercation on the left side of his body?
I did not.
You were asked about the cause, and you said that you don't know the cause.
All right, so this is day 1 of the trial. This is the very first redirect from Brennan. Notice the tone. This is his tone the entire time.
Else's. They didn't.
Were you referring to the
substance of what was discussed entirely? And remember, we discussed that morning, but
this is
Do you know if that conversation was recorded or just a conversation between you and the trooper?
I do not know if it was recorded.
Sounds
You asked questions. I want to ask you about questions on Mr. O'Keefe, and you mentioned that there was some type of blood clotting on the back of his head.
He's raising his voice.
Knee.
Don't recall, sir.
Did it stand out to you that all of his injuries, all of them that you saw, other than the cut on the back of the head, that they were all on his right side?
That is a leading question. This is your witness and you're leading.
Yes, did you notice any hematobas on his left side?
I did not.
Did you notice any scratches or abrasions on his left side?
I did not.
Did you notice any marks that would be consistent with an altercation?
A nefarious hematoba.
Leading question.
Yep.
Sustained.
Did I ever suggest to you that you should stick to a story?
No, sir.
Did I ever suggest to you you should offer your testimony in any certain way?
No, sir.
When I talked to you, did I ever ask you to say anything about your testimony to this jury?
No, sir.
Other than what?
Said I hit him to you, correct?
Again, the clip that you showed me, that was not when it was said. That segment that you showed, that was not when it was said. It was said prior to that, when the three of us were together.
So Flamati was not giving chest compressions then?
He was. The CPR was a continuous effort throughout the resuscitation.
But we saw him start it.
He also testified that at one point Flamati handed off compressions. So earlier in the video is where you need to back up to.
All right. So this was just argument back and forth. Then we have, oh boy, we
Bringing
got
her in as
Carrie
the second
Roberts.
witness is solid. First one. Or
Yes.
not. Curious.
May I approach you on?
Carrie Roberts.
Tonight, when you went to bed, the snow just started. Had snow accumulated at that point?
No, I don't think so. It was just starting to stick.
I'm sorry, that was. But it's the vehicle to the left.
Because we were.
As you approach Fairview, tell us what happens.
As we approached.
Judge is like, and we're done for the day. Like,
So Carrie
looking?
Roberts is the second witness. And we're done for the day. So what do we got now? We've got, I thought I pulled Andrea up. Shoot, I wanted to go to Andrea next. So let's go to day two. Day two of this crazy trial. All right, day number two. Oh boy, somebody's passed out. Look at that. Oh, doggy. And we start out with Miss Carrie Roberts, I'm sure, on the stand. So what do we have?
From meeting notes, calendar.
I'm not sure what this is. This must be. Is this oh, this is motions hearing. Shit, sorry. Commonwealth is carrying live watch motions in limine day two. Damn it. Trial two, motion hearing, trial, retrial. Okay, day two.
The presentation I would regarding the text messages and phone calls. At the last trial, Trooper Greeno read the text message video from 12 Meadows. 12B is the certification from rank. Thank you.
That's right. So Brennan wanted to bring in like actors to reenact the freaking text messages. He wanted to. How did that work out for him? Oh, so that was the text messages between Karen and John, not the ones between Higgins and John. He wanted to bring in neutral people that were not witnesses in the case to read the text messages. How? I mean, that's the most ridiculous damn thing I've ever heard. Shut the hell up. I'm glad she didn't let that happen. All right. So
then we get Spring Lane, and I knew of somebody that John had dated on Spring Lane, so I brought it up thinking, could he have gone there if he was walking?
Roberts. Then we get.
Remember it. You are rewriting it. And
really.
Okay. Any.
We get the cross
I don't think
examination.
so. I don't think I was shown anything.
Okay. Did you discuss other parts of your prior testimony?
Yes.
Okay.
How much of this testimony, besides their notes, do these people remember? the jury, right? Not only was this 20 days ago, so not only was this 20, oh, we're getting, oh, and of course I click on him and he stops streaming. Oh my goodness. We're getting doggy dream there for a second. Gotta pause for doggy dream. But no, it's subsided. Okay, well, so you've got your notes that you took, but how much of her testimony do you remember that not only is this 20 trial days streamed live on April 23rd, 2025, 4 weeks ago? This is 4 weeks ago. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, this is 4 weeks ago. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait. No, let's see. 1, 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Yep. Yeah, this was week 5 of the trial. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. We're on week 5. How much do they remember? He's getting poked. All right, come on, guys. Don't knock over the cameras. All right. So how much do you think they remember of this testimony? I bet you they wrote down quite a bit, though.
Concerning your prior testimony and how it would impact how you testify today on direct examination.
Mr. Brennan had just asked me, can you just tell me what happened? So I told him the story verbally.
Okay. Was this a story? Your memory. It's a combination of your memory and Jennifer McCabe's memory. Isn't that right?
Yes.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Is that you did not discuss anything about what you're doing here
No,
or what you're going
I
to
did
testify
not. She
to?
called different times that I would meet with him. Steve Nelson would be there. One time, Brian Tully was there.
I don't even remember. I remember there was something that he got out of her.
In the middle, quote, in the middle, your words, was broken and a piece of the metal encasement was pushed forward.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So we have Carrie Roberts, second witness. Then we have Peggy O'Keefe.
And were you with Kerry at some point?
So this was, I mean, I don't know. This was basically, oh, excuse me. This was, I mean, it was basically background on John. That was what Peggy O'Keefe was about. All right. Moving on. Then we have the first Guarino.
What's actually in them.
Guarino comes back and forth a bunch of times.
Calls for a period of time.
Yes, I did.
Did you go through the program and create
a
report for all of the calls between?
This was logging the calls. Then we have.
And you were there also to do a medical or psychiatric assessment.
Call where a group of your colleagues went to and addressed 34 Fairview.
Yes.
Were you?
This was one of the ones that picked up Karen. So you did
And then in the patient care record, it's recorded that Karen was found sitting in the front passenger seat of a friend's car, crying and visibly upset, but cooperative, right?
If that's my partner's words, yes.
All right. And that looks like the end of day 2. So day 2, We had Carrie Roberts, we had Garino, and then we had firefighter that did the psychiatric thing. Okay. Gripping stuff. Okay. Let's go to Ricada for day 3. Do we have day 3 with him? Yes, we do.
Defendant to John O'Keefe.
Proceedings as.
So now we have day 3. I think this was this the that guy was the guy,
yeah.
too, wasn't he?
And your memory of what happened at the hospital was very good in April of 2022, right?
As good as today?
Your memory in April of 2022 was very good, wasn't it?
It was very good as it is today.
Okay, so you want to add the as it is today, despite the fact that you weren't asked that question. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
All right. When questioned by Mr. Lally at the grand jury, you were asked the following question. So what, if any, interaction did you have with her, meaning Ms. Reed, at the hospital once you were there? You remember that question, right?
I do.
And your answer was, after that, I helped escort her down to, they call it the psych hallway, where they have rooms set up for psychiatric patients for their evaluation. And then she was unhappy that she wasn't able to see him, meaning John. And she kept trying to. She didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny. She didn't want to, I believe, give a urine sample. She was not, the nurses were asking her to do certain things that every patient has to do, and she was not cooperating with them. Do you remember that answer?
I do.
So 3 years ago, when you testified about this issue of giving a urine sample, you testified under oath that you believed that she didn't want to give a urine sample, correct?
Correct.
Yesterday, 3 years later, you testified with certainty that she didn't want to give them, right?
Yeah, she was giving them a hard time about having to give a urine sample.
Right. No, I'm asking you about your testimony yesterday in contrast to the grand jury, sir. Okay. To the extent that I ask yes or no question, I'd like yes or no answers.
So
okay?
no instructions to the witness, Mr. Yannetti.
No,
Ask
the
a
witness be
question.
instructed to answer the question yes or no if it calls for a yes or no question. Answer.
Answer the question that's asked of you. Okay?
Okay.
She
So go
won't
ahead,
even
ask
just
the
give him the
question.
basic instruction.
You testified yesterday that she didn't want to give a urine sample without saying it was your belief that she didn't want to give one, correct?
Correct.
In any case, were you aware that when she was asked to give a urine sample, that Mr. Lally asked you?
You and her were talking. She was upset. I think it's a phrase.
And you said,
thankfully, the court
defendant told you, I'm upset if he dies, I want to die. And then you later testify last year, and you said, if my husband dies, I want to die. Do you notice the little differences between those phrases?
I do.
Is that you making up words?
No.
Is that you trying to help a case?
Objection.
Objection.
As to form, that's sustained.
Are you
Anything like that to what's going on?
Do you have any interest in the outcome of this case?
I do not.
How long have you been a firefighter for? Access to the video system.
All right.
Yes.
Was it a state police officer?
It was two state police
It was
detectives.
from the bar, but hang on.
Good morning.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jean Demulis. I am the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton.
I'm going to ask you to.
CF McCarthy's. So basically, this is how they get in. They don't have to ask about high tops and low tops and tabletops and all that. They just get her in. Then we have
Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years.
Toronto.
Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. We have 2 children.
How old are your children, sir?
No, we left together.
This was John's friend. They just kind of
And
stabbed.
you recall John telling you that he wished
bantering,
The relationship between John and Karen
even
that
negative.
night. Do you know what was going on behind closed doors other than what you saw?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Oh, come on.
I'll allow it.
Do you know whether
Did
you identify or specify chat messages between John O'Keefe?
Just establish.
That's fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
Next to the last exhibit, please. Thank you, sir.
Bev sounds more exhausted than an
This is from Karen Reed to John O'Keefe. Your
relationship.
I believe it.
Yes, he's going to read
10:09:49 a.m. on the 28th. Defendant to John O'Keefe. I don't know what time on the 28th.
Reading text
From the
messages.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe. No, head out together. An emoji. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I think the four of us getting.
Then we get a clip from her.
But I shouldn't have been driving. But I don't think.
Nice afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be going on a few. So if you're not going for the rest of the day, and won't interfere with our schedule. Well, it looks like it's I'm trying to fill the curtains here, but it looks like it's a beautiful day. You'll have a nice afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be going on
Trial day 3, they get off early. It's kind of a they get off early a lot. It's time to go. We can just you don't need to be here the whole time. You can just go now. All right. Day 4. Day 4 was that's when they went to the. We have a day 4? I don't see a day 4 here. Day 4. I didn't see a day 4 with Emily, but Amy's got a day.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to jump on into the courthouse and see what's going on. Today is expected to be a half a day. It looks like we do have some movement in the courtrooms.
Also, I'd ask you to make a note on the Lexus about the height of the bumper. I'd ask you to make note of the height of the to the front. And we'll be asking you to take a good look at that Lexus.
Check out the stone bridge. Hold on, guys. This is Garino. It's up a little bit further.
Extractions from any of the phones involved in this case.
Right. This is the
So it depends on circumstances. Acute generally is something.
Board certification is something we need to show that we are actually.
I love it how he doesn't need his glasses to see.
Doctor, if I could direct your attention further into the document to a previously
This is a healthcare professional who specializes in drawing blood. So
that's right.
They're the ones who are trained.
This is the blood guy.
93 milligrams per deciliter.
Blood guy. So
it's
I don't know why he took so long, but
Canton Police. The testing that you're doing at Good Samaritan is in relation to
that's
patients.
right. So
What a
Good
difference in
Samaritan.
tone. He's already screaming. Okay, this is.
You do some ride time on the ambulance.
Yeah.
Paramedic school is a little different. It's about a little extended. 2 years worth of training. You're doing hospital, ER time, and ambulance time also.
How long did you serve as an EMT before you went to paramedic school?
I served. You see a bunch of police lights.
So this was one of the ones that
she did.
And that would account for the blood on her face and in her hair. Did you get the other female's name?
I not at the time. I did not.
Okay. Have you, by the way, have you since
he was
gotten
one of
her?
the ones on some.
Based on a conversation, Firefighter Whitley and Miss Reed had back in the ambulance.
Got it. Okay. And who is that other person?
Miss Carrie Roberts.
Okay. When you first observed Miss Reed, did you note whether or not there was anything unusual about her physical appearance, meaning anything on her?
She did. Yes.
Describe that for the jurors, please.
She had some blood around her mouth, her neck area.
At that point, were you concerned about, obviously you're concerned mainly about her safety and getting her safely to the hospital?
He was part of the one that was doing the psych evaluation on her, getting her to the hospital. Okay, so I do remember though that
something along the lines of she was upset because her last words to him were because of her last words to him being in anger.
I object.
I'm going to allow the question.
Is that correct?
Well, I probably phrased it a little wrongly. The last words. It was the last conversation.
Okay. Okay, that wasn't my question. My question is a simple one. In a previous hearing, did you use the phrase "her last words to him"?
Yes,
were
I did.
any?
I did.
And that was at a hearing where you're under oath, just like you are now.
Uh-oh.
Correct.
That was a little closer in time than we are now. It was maybe a year ago, correct?
Correct.
Actually, my mistake. It was about 2.5 years ago.
All right. So we get this.
So it is interesting that AJ is taking it there. We are just about a minute.
Last words to him.
There's no other details than.
Ask him what he told the grand jury.
This is page
So
81,
then
lines 1 through 4.
Hank
Please read it
tries to clean that up.
Yes, sir.
The whole his testimony. And then he ends up getting mad at his own. Seem to remember him getting mad at this guy a little bit and starting to yell at him. So
The grand jury, you didn't just say, like her last words, did you?
No.
You explained your memory to the grand jury?
Objection.
Ask him what he told the grand jury.
The grand jury, do you know it was on April 21st, 2022?
Yes.
Oh, section that we became a member. Mind myself. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lucky Lou, for becoming a member.
another
Shout out to Dark.
bar here.
That was like her last words to him. Because
Can we do last words? But there's more to the statement, isn't there? A statement that you made that includes last words. But there's more to the statement, isn't there?
she was upset.
I'd like you to read
Oh,
your
sorry.
entire
Sure.
statement, 1 through 5. Can we do
So she was also she was upset also because she said they had, the last time they had talked, she had gotten into an argument. So she was upset that was like her last words to him.
So when you were speaking about her last words to him, were you referring to the argument?
Correct.
You testified again regarding this issue, didn't you, in May 3rd, 2024?
Correct.
And at that point, did you think or believe that the conversation she was relating to you was about a voicemail?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Did you use the word again on May 3rd, 2024, argument?
Objection.
I'm going to allow this.
I used argument.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And me yesterday, so that was pretty great. Thank you, Jess. Chat about this game. Welcome.
That's a
Gonna love it
jerk.
here.
I don't understand
Going
why
on
he's gotta be
where they're agreeing.
Her husband were an argument. Why didn't you ask for more detail about that?
I didn't feel it was my, at the time we went about the call as that we didn't, think we would be witnesses in a murder trial. We were there to support Karen and ultimately get to the hospital safely.
And you were asked about trauma, and you said that you observed that the person may be in trauma. Ms. Reed.
A traumatic event,
Traumatic event.
Right.
Do you have any idea what caused that traumatic event?
I did not.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anything?
Very quickly, you indicated that you were asked on redirect examination by Mr. Brennan whether earlier in the night could have been 12 or 12:15 a.m., correct?
That's what he asked, yes.
And earlier in the night could have been 6 o'clock p.m.
Early in the night, yeah, correct.
Could have been 5 o'clock p.m.
Could have been.
Could have been 7 o'clock p.m.
Sure.
Okay. You were also asked whether or not Ms. Reed actually specifically mentioned voicemails when she talked about those last words. And you said she didn't.
That I remember, correct.
But she did show you her phone.
She tried to.
And she did show you a bunch of missed calls to John Keefe, correct?
I wasn't going to look through her phone. I don't know who she called.
Thank you.
When she said about the argument, she said those were the last words, the argument, right?
That's correct.
Sustained. All right. Jurors disregard that last statement. All right. You are all set.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you are
It's a
all
good place to stop for the day.
If the court pleases, yes.
Jurors, we could do 6 minutes, but I think this is probably a good place to start.
6 minutes early. Day 4 of the trial. Still, what? Yeah, okay. Day 4. Okay, day 5. What do we got for day 5?
Before my ride to the airport, they said,
we need to do that again. Like one more time with feeling, because I need to get the sound gate.
Okay. Day 5 is
They're
Ian
sitting there.
Whiffen.
Calls Ian Whiffen.
Ian Whiffen.
on how to get data from different types of devices.
And she did not.
What other information is available? You can see if there's any information that's been deleted that can be recovered. And you can validate the information that's there and make sure that the timestamps are being encrypted from the phone. They uploaded it to Cellbright's secure portal, where I was able to download it and verify what the data was in the extraction.
A number of different tabs on my phone at the same time if I've searched for different.
So this is all about.
But it also stores information such as the last searches that were conducted using the Safari search feature.
It seems like it would make more sense. So I don't know. He said, for all of you saying, but does he have all the data? He said he received the zip file of the phone extraction.
What URL searches have been deleted from the actual item?
Yeah, so from a forensic examiner point of view and using forensic software, I can look at the database and see the records that have been deleted and recovered.
This just brings up a point. Why are there any deleted records on Jen McCabe's phone? Why did she need to delete anything? And as later on, we heard from the other lady, super expert phone chick, that delete thing that of searches is not something that a user can do. So why is there any kind of deleted records? Why? Why are there deleted records? I don't know that the defense asked that.
From the phone, or there was 4,000.
Why don't you just ask him a question instead of giving him information?
Sustained.
It's totally leading.
As to form.
Yep, because it's leading.
I don't. It could be as inaccurate.
So then we have
the direction that the database recorded the device was traveling in.
When you look at this information,
taking notes for cross instead of objecting.
Between 24 minutes in some pretty poor location data. I've highlighted with the red arrow.
So this is from 12/27/35, 12/38/15. There's all the location data is very spotty. Then this is this is the location data from the overnight, I guess, if I remember right. And then
ish.
And we get this.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Again, we see at 21 minutes and 27 seconds. She's received again from Jennifer McCabe saying, "Pull behind me." And at
an increased.
Ian Whiffen. Let me get Alessi. Alessi's first cross-examination of the trial. See him begin.
We're getting into cross.
We're
not going to get through it all today. For those of you that didn't watch the first trial, do you think the timeline was helpful to understand what John O'Keefe's phone was doing?
But the guy is ripped.
This afternoon will be streamed, so we're going to watch this afternoon as well. Alessi's like, hold on. Let me, he's.
What happened to the sidebar on X? It's gone. There's this used to be search and this used to be, it's gone now. Why? What did they do? I don't want to go to the Explore tab to search. I want to search from the freaking Home tab. And this is gone. That's stupid. I think, let's see, hopefully it's not too far back. Look at that. Look at that. Dude is freaking ripped. 60-plus-year-old man. Does that look like a 60-plus-year-old man? No, it does not. I look more 60 than that guy. Jesus. And I am not that. No, that's, yeah. Holy moly. Now, I suspect there is some hair coloring thing going on. No 60 plus year old is that dark. But damn, look at that. All right. Right. So cross-examination.
Cell phone data,
Yeah,
when correct and when correctly analyzed, can help tell a story of what may have happened under various circumstances, correct?
Correct.
He is so good. He starts off his cross-examination so well, just setting stages, and he puts in these subtle jabs that you don't. That is just, I mean, subtle, so subtle. But they're jabs nonetheless. If
It went fast.
Properly analyzed cell phone data is helpful, right?
Fair. Thank you, Chad. Because I wasn't even thinking about iMessage on the computer and the iPad. So that's completely fair. And
So day one, this is day 5. And so Ian Whiffen gets a very little bit of cross-examination. Then the jury's dismissed. Then they have lunch. Then we get 2 hours of Brennan yelling at Dr. Wolf.
it sounds like the bailiff interrupts and the audacity.
You called them again that day, didn't you? Or they called you on the main line?
We may have exchanged a couple calls that day, yes.
Well, you did exchange a couple calls.
I don't know the number, sir.
He wasn't under a preservation order.
I don't have the text. So you're asking me over a year ago almost about text messages. I don't recall how many there were.
All right. Was it 10, 100, 1,000? How many were there?
Of ones that I sent?
No, not just what you sent. Either way, back and forth.
Probably, I don't know, maybe around 100 or so.
Backed up a little bit, but we are at DEF CON.
For my analysis, sir, I wanted to make sure the jury understood that.
Don't hide behind the jury. I'm talking about your communications with the defense. I'm asking you specifically about your conversations with the defense.
Yep.
Alessi is trying to yell, and as Alessi, I'm just backing it up. We're just
This case.
But you're not taking sides. You're totally objective, right?
Sir, that is a question that's routinely raised when I testify about whether or not we inspected the vehicle. So I know it would be a potential issue that would be raised by either side.
So you were alerting the defense that you thought that this may become an issue.
I backed up.
Weren't you?
It was more or less to make sure.
Was the statement under oath, you and I have never discussed the substance of your testimony. Is that still truthful?
We never discussed it, sir. Again, I sent it to him on my own behalf. There was no discussion that took place between Mr. Jackson about that.
You made comments after this was exchanged.
That was said. People use all different types of applications.
Okay,
so
Alessi.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Was there
That's why Alessi's
anything
mad.
in your mind nefarious or underhanded about...
Objection. Nefarious? It would be nefarious. So what Alessi said is, he wants the court to know this. It's not really a question to this witness, but did you know that they were trying to get to the phones of Karen Reed's parents? We knew because we covered those motions, that they were trying to look at the phones of the defense. That I don't remember. That going to Signal was a way to protect the defense attorneys. That doesn't surprise me given the amount of phones that they were trying to get to in this and related cases. So that's where Alessi's like, did you know why they moved to Signal? He's like, he just said I'd rather communicate on Signal. And I went, okay. Didn't know any of that. We knew he didn't know any of that. He wanted to remind the court of that.
Using Signal.
No.
And my understanding is this is the first time you used a Signal app with regard to a matter professionally. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Did you get any understanding from communications with the defense discovery information?
From the Department of Justice?
Anybody?
No. Report and done their own
He
testing.
knows where he's going with
that
that.
should be solidified in memorial.
So this guy's on the stand for
to Dr. Welcher.
hours.
That's not what I'm
We
asking
have
you.
provided everything that he would need to evaluate the testing that we have done.
That's not what I'm asking. What if he wants to evaluate the testing you did the first time? Are you going to come into court? Do you hope to testify about the opinions you gave the first time? About those 4 opinions?
I don't know what the defense's plan is for us. My understanding is that it's to evaluate and respond to Dr. Welcher.
All right, with that, I need to see counsel attack.
Certainly, that would have been up to the DOJ. I mean, I would have had conversations.
Sir, it's the DOJ. They're just like, we're telling you this. And
this was
rebut the Commonwealth's expert instead.
All right. So then we get yeah, that was dumb. I hate that. Brennan showing how ugly and how much of a jerkwad he is was exactly what we needed. So, okay. So then we get a ruling basically that, oh no, we get the ruling later that day. All right. So now we get Whiffen. I think Alessi just basically tears him up pretty good. All right. Seems like everything's going good with my mom. So she is back to normal, actually. And her second test came back normal. So they're going to keep her overnight and make sure that she doesn't have any arteries that are clogged up. Of course, she doesn't have her phone with her. So they'll bring it back to her tomorrow. But yeah, so everything seems to be going okay. Okay. Are we back at, so they go back and then they're back at sidebar. $11.62.2. That'll come back up later.
Sustained.
Damn it. All right. Alessi kicks butt. That's about that
Not
thing.
include that depiction. No.
Right.
So this was
there. This, in fact, was a depiction that you included in your report on page 29, correct?
Correct.
Interesting.
you did not.
And
Yeah, I see that. I know.
Not
Yeah.
include that depiction in your timeline that you discussed with the jury yesterday, did you?
This is Leslie just kicking
But
his
it was
butt.
important enough for you to put that depiction in your report, correct?
Correct.
So this basically shows that he could have been in the house. The phone could have been in the house. Oh, we keep going. Then we get
It's coming true. We got
1162 event.
I appreciate
Yeah, I recall seeing that as part of the report that I read 2 months ago.
And you recall the time of 12:31:38 now, correct?
Correct.
12:31:38, which has now been
minutes in a freezer.
now been changed.
Approximately 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
So it drops 50 degrees Fahrenheit in just 15 minutes.
Correct.
And is it
This was
fair
when
to say that
tested
if you
it
do
in-
the math, that
in the freezer? He said, "Yeah, I put the phone in the freezer, but I didn't really check that.
stuff. We got all these.
I did these experiments, but I didn't really do them scientifically. I just did some experiments to see what would happen. So yeah, stupid."
Thank you. Here comes drama.
did you?
Not in my testimony, no.
A Google search on that cell phone of Jen McCabe had been tampered with, correct?
I take a holistic view of the data and try to find anomalies and didn't see any that raised any flags.
That wasn't my question, sir.
Okay.
I'll try it a different way.
All right.
That phone
so-
being at the flagpole area from midnight until 6:15 the next morning.
It is, yes.
There's also information because the broadness that it could have been somewhere else.
Correct.
Yet it is consistent.
Brennan says it could have been somewhere else. All right, so we get
Expect to see the
or
latitude, longitude
redirect from
back
so
onto my computer and show it back in this window in exactly the same way as I was doing it a second ago.
That you just performed. When did you create it?
The demonstration?
What you just
Like literally just now as I was doing it live.
so you
Is how
just
you mean?
created the demonstration now live on the stand?
That particular demonstration, yes.
So that demonstration, therefore, was created after Celebrite removed the 22740 timestamp from all of its tool programs, correct?
No, incorrect. I mean, that demonstration I just provided was right now, it was live. Initially, when I did these tests, I did the same kind of experiment, the same type of testing back in late 2023, I believe. And after I did those tests and used that research, that is when Cellbrite removed the timestamp.
Maybe my question wasn't clear. Let me see if I could rephrase it. The demonstration that you just gave, when did you prepare it? The demonstration, not just the demonstration that you just showed on the screen. When did you create that demonstration on your computer?
Hey, again, I've been doing this demonstration for 2 years.
My question, again, is the demonstration you just gave.
Yes.
When was the last time you altered that demonstration?
Other than to use different search terms, it's the same demonstration.
I'll try it a different
Yes, please.
When was the last time you altered in any way the demonstration you just gave?
Right now.
So you altered it right now, and that alteration was made after Celebrite had removed the 2:27:40 a.m. timestamp from its programs, correct?
Yes, okay.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Oh, poor guy. Let's
And all that.
Lord. Then, oh boy, on day
With
6,
my daughter.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my husband and my.
then we get McCabe.
I
Jen
texted a few
McCabe.
people and then I did a couple of Google searches.
It doesn't make sense all of a sudden. Her whole testimony just all over the place. The fuck is going on? What is this?
To help her, and I wanted to find John.
So after she told you these things about whether she could have did hit her in the light and not remembering, did the conversation end or did it progress?
At some point, I was then going into like, okay, well, if she.
They made her, so they have put nobody else on the stand this trial except for Jen McCabe. They have made her.
What were you doing?
Could have.
I was just like, what the heck?
They have made her the coordinator, the whole thing. She is the one. She is the thing. Then at the end of the day, we had the ARCA
And given
ruling.
our scheduling, our experts will not be able to look at this material.
And I expect a short answer.
The short answer, Your Honor, is the rule that you're.
This is great. This is one of my favorite moments of this entire trial.
For 10 years minimum. How do you reconcile that? How do I reconcile that?
So she is asking how all these calls
Where all
were deleted. None of those calls, none of those text messages needed to be turned over to the defense. None of them did. They didn't matter. They were from the last trial. None of that needed to be turned over.
Correspondence related to the matter, whether in physical or electronic form, reconcile of
So
professional
she pulls up
conduct.
this
1
rule.
No. How do we reconcile that with the Massachusetts Rules of Professional Conduct 1.15?
This is the
I don't see how you reconcile that, where all correspondence related to the matter, whether in physical or electronic form, must be saved for 10 years minimum. How do you reconcile that? How do I reconcile that?
Should I go to the podium?
Right there, and I expect a short answer.
The short answer, Your Honor, is the rule that you're citing has absolutely no applicability to this proceeding. For this, can I finish my answer, Your Honor?
Right ahead.
Has no applicability. That rule is intended to be between an attorney and the client. The court has no jurisdiction to enforce.
Go,
that
Alessi.
rule.
I agree. I agree. That's a different body, but I'm asking you how I reconcile that when I'm trying to figure this out. Mr. Alessi, you know what? You're going to win this, so why don't you just let me make my ruling? Okay. So I understand there have been repeated violations of the reciprocal discovery orders and my orders, repeated and deliberate. But, and Mr. Brennan,
all of the shit that the damn prosecution has pulled from the beginning of this trial. And she's going to, I mean,
I understand completely the Commonwealth's argument, completely the ambush that has been set up
but it was the prosecution that was ambushed.
on here. However, a defendant's right to a fair trial is paramount to everything. So I'm going to allow the ARCA witnesses to testify. I am going to allow what I expect to be a very robust cross-examination. And I'm going to allow them to testify to everything that they said up until yesterday. So you'll get the report May 7th. And I know that's late. And if you need anything as a result of that being late, I'll hear you on whatever motion you have.
Look at God.
Understand, and I expect counsel to comply with all rulings and rules of the court and all rules of professional conduct, and no more nonsense. Let's just try this case. All right.
Nowhere in there did she said she would leave open the chance that ARCA wouldn't testify. And then later she said, I left that open. So this judge is one of the worst judges in the history of freaking judging. All right, so that was day 6.
Yesterday. So
Day
you'll get the
6. Good Lord. Okay, share this tab. Let's go over to Brandy's thing and kick some day 7.
Where you recount.
Which was Miss Jen McCabe again. God, Jen and her.
I'm not sure if they had, because Karen had straddled him and was lifted her shirt, was warming him up. And then Kerry was yelling at her to get off. And I think when Kerry got the blankets and was trying to put him under John, I think as she started to move him and wipe him, blood started to come out. And then Karen was afraid that he was going to choke on his blood and wanted to move him on his side. But then Kerry was yelling at her, we can't move him. And
all right, so I'm looking for a specific part. Let's see. Oh my God. Oh.
he's off kind of making phone calls, I believe, to John's family.
Let's see.
Do you know what time the first responders lifted John from the ground and put him on that bed?
I don't know.
In fact,
I'm a cool mom. Different movie.
For you to inquire about who's
So this is 250. I wanted to get the part where she's lied to the FBI. I know it was husband. They were talking about her husband a bit in there. Okay, so yeah. So
during the course of your interview, your husband, Matt McCabe, came home. Is that right?
Yes.
As these law enforcement agents continued to question you,
talking
law
about the
enforcement officers
FBI
continued to
guys.
question you at some point, you informed them that you did not feel comfortable with any further questioning and you suspended the interview, correct?
Yes.
Before leaving, however, those same law enforcement officers asked you if you had contacted anyone in those 10 minutes when you indicated, I need to.
Basically, it was a story. The FBI showed up at her house. They said, "Hey, can we come in?" When they first pulled up, they said something to her when she was getting out of her car. She said, "No, I'm not Jen McCabe." She went in the house. Then they called her from outside and said, "Hey, we're FBI. We'd like to ask you some questions." So she said, "Give me 10 minutes." And then she called some people. And then her husband came home. And then eventually when they're asking questions, she says, "I don't want to answer any more questions."
10 minutes to get ready between the time they called you and the time that they showed up and came inside your house, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe.
Yes.
Which is why he came home, right?
Yes.
And you told them that you had called Carrie Roberts before they interviewed you, correct? At that moment.
I'm not 100% sure, but if
you know what you I'm not 100% sure. You know, when you lie to a freaking FBI, you know exactly the lie you told to the FBI. I'm sorry. If you're going to lie to the FBI, that's not something you're going to forget later.
if you have it, it seems like something I would do, but if you have it, could
She said it last time. It was like, so they
Asked you,
and Carrie
Ms.
Roberts.
McCabe, if you recognized that.
So she called her husband, then called Carrie, and then talked to them for a brief amount of time, and then ended.
About who you contacted in that 10-minute interval?
Yes, I told them.
He said
And you told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe.
Yes.
And Carrie Roberts.
Correct.
I want to stick with that for just a quick second. One of the first calls you made after being contacted by these other law enforcement officers from a different agency, one of the first calls you made was to Carrie Roberts. Is that right?
She was the first one.
Carrie Roberts.
Okay. Yes.
You wanted to let Ms. Roberts know that you had been contacted by certain officers from a different agency, correct?
I was curious if they had already been to her.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
You also wanted to find out had these law enforcement officers just wanted to find out had she been contacted. But if she had said yes,
Carrie.
You weren't going to say, and what the hell did they say? What did they ask you? Somehow align, or it could inform how you responded to questions.
There's nothing more than me calling and saying, "Hey, did they come to your house?" That's what we did when the media showed up, when Miss Reed's private investigator showed up. We just give each other the heads up, "Hey, somebody's coming," because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's
we're just normal moms. We're not used to this. I'm not used to texting in the morning or searching on my phone how long to die in cold. I'm just a normal mom.
helpful in making sure.
This is conniving. This is like a made for TV movie on ABC or Lifetime Network. This is the villain from one of those shows. This is one of the most conniving people in wherever. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable here. This is just, that's the word to describe her. If you have one word to describe Jen McCabe, what would it be? Conniving.
You also testified in your direct examination, staying with Ms. Roberts for just a second, about a timeline.
So
they asked you, was there anyone else that you contacted in that 10-minute period before we got a chance to talk to you? And your answer was no, correct?
Correct.
And that was a lie, correct?
It wasn't a lie. No.
Was it true? Was it the truth or a lie?
It wasn't a lie.
Okay, so it was the truth. You had not spoken to any other person between the time they contacted you telephonically and you said, I need 10 minutes, and then they came in the door. During that arc of time, you didn't talk to anybody else or contact anybody else other than Matt McCabe, Carrie Roberts. Now you're testifying that was a true statement.
I can't answer that yes or no.
It's pretty binary. Had you talked, well, let me ask you this. In point of fact, you did talk to other people. You contacted others in addition to Matt McCabe and Carrie Roberts, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So when you
right here, this just sinks all the credibility she could absolutely have. And it gets
said
worse.
no to the answer, did you contact anyone other than Matt and Carrie? That would be, by definition, Ms. McCabe, a lie. Correct?
No.
It's not a lie? Is there some shade of lie that I'm not aware of?
It's the way you're asking the question. If
Okay,
I
let
could
me ask it a different
explain,
Let me ask
it
it a
will
different
make
way.
more sense to you.
The agents asked you, I'm going to go over this one more time, then I'm going to move on. The agents asked you, in fact,
Agents,
did you contact anyone between the time we called you,
Speed this up a little
10
bit.
minutes before we walked in the door? They asked you that question, correct?
The objection sustained. Watch the choice of language.
I'm sorry. I meant the law enforcement agency. That law enforcement agency, the members of that law enforcement agency, they asked you who you had contacted between the time they first telephoned you and walked in the door 10 minutes later, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Data point number one. Data point number two, you told them Matt and Carrie else other than Matt and Carrie, correct?
Correct.
And you said no. Is that correct?
At that moment, I said no. Yes.
Correct. At any moment.
No, at that moment, because they had just come in my house.
I asked you,
Only one person can talk at a time.
you said the word no.
She was finishing her answer.
I had said no because I was in a situation where there are two officers from a different agent had come in, were asking me questions, or they had said, can I come?
She does it. So she lied to them. And now she's saying, well, I was scared or I just
in and ask you questions. At first I thought they were selling something. Then they were going to be made some phone
Objection, Your Honor.
calls.
This is not
That's,
responsive.
so next question. Mr.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe, after you said no, that you hadn't contacted Mr. McCabe, they left you their card so you could call them if need be, correct?
Yes, they did.
And you in fact did call them back, correct?
Yes, I did.
Without telling me the content of the conversation you had, did you have a conversation with Mr. McCabe? Objection.
Sustain. Answers to questions are evident.
Clear that lie up.
So sustain. Jurors, remember.
so this is going well. Then we're all sitting over here like to the feds or whatever. So
Called these officers back, correct?
Yes.
And you explained to them that you had been untruthful with them, correct?
I explained that I had forgotten to mention a couple of people that I had reached out to.
You had forgotten. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
You had forgotten. You remembered Matt and you remembered Carrie, but you had forgotten the others that you had just contacted maybe 30 minutes before.
Yes.
There were.
You believe you forgot that you called 3 other people.
Then, Ms. McCabe, you contacted Carrie Roberts, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Peggy O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
Then, Ms. McCabe, you contacted the district attorney's office, correct?
My witness advocate.
The district attorney's office.
My witness advocate who works for the district attorney's
Thank
office.
you, Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
And you also left out that you contacted Brian Albert himself, correct?
Yes, my brother-in-law.
For some reason, your brother-in-law.
She always, I mean, it's all these witnesses, every single one, especially these conflicted witnesses. They all equivocate every single time. It's equivocation. Well, it's, my brother-in-law, blah, 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 blah,
He's the
blah.
30-year Boston police detective, correct?
Yes.
And on.
So Yep, she basically lied to the. I mean, this just sank all of her credibility right here.
As you look at that,
All
I'm
of
going to
it.
use the perspective of the video.
So she's an idiot. She's a
Previously
conniver.
indicated that
She's a
when you went through the
liar.
door, it was chaotic because you were so amped up. And they
This
don't
woman
need to be
is
pulled up.
a nutcase.
I'd have to look at the screenshot.
2:23 a.m.
It was accumulating.
So, all right, that's day 7. Good Lord. Good God, man. All right, let's go back to Emily for day 8. I don't even know what it, yeah. Okay, so day 8. Origin, Gabe.
So you know that it's there, right? And
word nefarious.
Because there's nothing about me calling my sister that is nefarious, and I feel like you're insinuating it might be, and it's not.
Did you use that word because it sounds nefarious?
No, I just use the word because I think that's how you're trying to portray something that is nothing.
Or did you use that word because you think that's how it's coming across? That's nefarious.
No.
Without contacting 34 Ferry.
No, not at all.
Later that morning,
the fact that Alan Jackson didn't just vomit with delight in court and squeal is the most restrained lawyering I think we've seen from Alan Jackson. Because
why can't they
that
just
as
answer
a lawyer is a
questions?
moment you will never forget. I don't think he fucking likes this witness. Chat, let me know what you think. But to not start actually jumping up and down and go, no, she did fucking not. No, she did not. I see that you guys thought it was hard to hear Jackson. He's not right at the microphone. I will back this colloquy up one more time because he is hard to hear, and I'm going to try to gain it up. But the colloquy starts with, there's nothing nefarious about me calling my sister. And he said, I didn't say that. Why would you say that? And she talks about him trying to insinuate it. And he goes, do you think that because it does look nefarious? That's the colloquy. I know it's hard to hear. I'm going to try to gain it up. This is a stunning admission. Lord, I'm my little sound.
I did not speak to my sister, no.
Damn.
Sure. Nicole, that morning?
I did not speak to my sister, no.
So that 38-second call.
There we go.
Went to voicemail?
Oh, there were no objections.
I'm not sure. All I can tell you is I never spoke to my sister, Nicole, that morning prior to waking her up.
But you do acknowledge that you made a phone call at 5:07 to Julie Albert. I'm sorry, to Nicole Albert. Your
I backed up
sister
too far.
over at
Sorry, y'all.
34 Ferry in those early morning hours.
Yes, I learned after.
The
When I
defense
was
team has
first
to be
being
gagged.
questioned, it's days after. It was a chaotic morning. I remembered the waterfall, Julie, then Tom Beatty. Calling to my sister wasn't as ingrained in my mind at that point. No.
And then you testified at a grand jury, not hours or days later.
Oh,
You
I went
testified
too
at a grand
far.
jury
Sorry, Chad.
months later.
I was too
correct?
excited.
Correct.
And at that grand jury, you also left out the fact that you contacted your sister, correct?
There's nothing nefarious. I remembered who I called. I didn't go back and look at phone records.
I didn't say it was nefarious. Why would you use the word nefarious?
Because there's nothing about me calling my sister that is nefarious, and I feel like you're insinuating it might be, and it's not.
Did you use that word because it sounds nefarious?
No, I just
He said, did you use that word because it sounds nefarious?
use the word because I think that's how you're trying to portray something that is nothing.
Or did you use that word because you think that's how it's coming across? That's nefarious.
He said, or did you use that word because you think that's how it comes across?
Without contacting 34 Ferry.
No, not at all.
Damn. Those were great and restrained questions from Jackson. There's no way he thought that she was going to say that. That, even if there's an insinuation on cross, like there you go.
So ask it differently. That's a state.
Sure. Do you remember exactly the words you used in describing that taillight to Trooper Proctor as you sit here today?
Probably not.
Again, the taillight was cracked.
To answer. She's refusing to answer in a direct and organized fashion, but she's not refusing to answer.
Recognize that?
Yes.
Is that your phone number?
Yeah.
What is here?
I would assume here would mean my house.
Again?
Next text, please.
Because they went over the timeline on the 29th.
Who's this from and who's it to? I'm sorry, John O'Keefe calls your phone lasting about 36 seconds. Is that right?
Yeah.
With how critical, I don't remember, is very difficult. And sir.
So just one question on it.
Questioning I've been waiting for, how long have I been waiting for this line of questioning? For 2 days.
As quickly as you possibly.
Let me back up. I'm going to step right on. They might be in distress. And she said, no, I had no reason to worry for them because I knew John O'Keefe never came in the
case. Were you ever given an opportunity to review somebody else's report after?
To find him. So the defense is going to argue all of that beyond the cacophony of sound.
Is that right?
That's just a chat with them, yes.
Okay.
You had some text messages to and from Carrie Roberts.
You're mad
correct?
at the word private
Yes.
then?
You had just.
Everybody should work really hard to make sure.
That was the feed. That's not on you. We are behind. A lot of info added to the questions from the Commonwealth. Lot of exposition about the unspecified federal agents.
Thank you very much.
And we are
an entry level or trainee type position where the individual was responsible for progressing through the training program, assisting with casework as they.
That's where
And
we're
how
at
would
today.
that central nervous system depressant affect?
Alcohol is evaporated and.
Our results, garbage in, garbage out.
I'm a dummy. Okay, back. We are back. I'm not sharing. I'm just sorry. Cat was on a call. The sound was coming. Okay, so day 9 of this crazy trial. Okay. So now we get the medical person with the how drunk was she?
Of a study by Rainey.
Then we get Ryan Nagel.
Your sister. Did your plan change?
Yes.
And what was the plan after?
Ryan
you
Nagel
received the
came
text?
to the house.
Not yet started sticking to the pavement, correct? Correct, sir. You can see the pavement in both the driveway and the street. Correct, sir. You can also see the grass on the lawn. Yes.
Then we get
Most likely, yes.
Heather Maxon.
I believe so, yes.
After you left the establishments, after they closed, did you go somewhere?
We went to pick Ryan's sister up, Julie, from a friend's house. She needed a ride.
Vehicle's taillights, whether they were intact or broken?
Nope.
When you arrived at that address, do you know the street address?
I do not.
When you arrived at that address, what happened next?
I believe.
The vehicle's tail. Ever see that dome light come on?
No.
Did in front of you or behind the street in relation to the driveway? At a couple minutes to get from when you drove.
Maybe.
This was awesome. So this was when they said that they turned.
I'm not sure if I understand the
Did you
question.
know who they were?
No.
Strangers?
Yeah.
When they turned and then Ricky turned after them, how far ahead of Ricky were they?
Maybe 100 feet.
Could you see them the entire time?
No.
When you drove to Fairview, how long did it take after the turn?
A couple minutes.
It took a couple minutes to get from Cedar Crest to Fairview?
Oh,
That's
maybe.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. When you arrived at Fairview, where did Ricky stop?
Outside the house on the street.
Do you remember where on the street in relation to the driveway? You will be about the vehicle light that you left.
No. No.
Did you?
Nope.
When you arrived at
proof.
At some point,
It's
No.
Did you see anybody lying on the front lawn?
look at her.
No.
Look at her. This is the end of
Thank you.
Brennan's
Further
questions.
a lot of it's possible being set up here from the party with the burden of proof. It's
No.
Look at
Outside the
her.
door?
No.
Did you see anybody lying on the front lawn?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
What is this? At the end of her,
a lot of it's possible being set up here
I
from
mean,
the
she said, "Did you see the vehicle the entire time after you turned?" Nope. How long did it take you to get from Cedar Crest to 34 Fairview? A couple minutes. It's like that's like 200-300 feet. Like a couple of minutes, really? Well, I don't know. And then
the party with the burden of proof.
at the end of her direct exam, we get that reaction.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
That's kind of funny.
Before Ricky turned parked near the driveway, you weren't thinking that you had to watch the SUV every second in case you were later asked to describe what was going on with that.
Yeah, but I mean, her testimony did not
And
help.
that
I mean, I don't.
SUV was the same vehicle that you recognized.
Yeah, but I don't think she was. Yeah, I think she's no longer dating Ryan Nagel. She's out of the whole thing. So I don't know. So then we had
Tell us what happens over the course of the next couple hours.
really goofy
So
person.
at some point, probably between like
There was somebody else you said he fetched his jacket. He then walked back out that same front door down the stoop.
All right. Then we had
set that you work.
Katie.
Jackson. One a few weeks ago, we reviewed the test.
Then yeah, this chick's just a complete liar.
Anything, Mr. Jackson?
Very briefly, that was
Then Heather Maxon, same thing.
expand.
We had-
Lieutenant.
Yes, I was brought out of the DEA.
Gallagher, this was another one that just
Are you
would not.
required by statute to contact CPAC or the Massachusetts State Police. Other footprints around that area.
There's Gallagher. Gallagher was the leaf blower guy.
Some of them were from first responders. Some of them were.
Compacted snow.
And then she also.
At Good Samaritan Hospital, correct?
That is correct.
So certainly you're not. So in Trooper Tony's report, where he reports what you said, you were actually talking to Adam Lally, my colleague sitting up in front.
Correct.
Okay. So now we got that cleared up. Let me ask,
The other officers we talked about.
none of them saw John McKee's body as it lay in the lawn. With the car.
That is correct. Yes.
Far removed from personal knowledge.
That are going to harm it are
Oh, yeah?
radiation, ultraviolet light, harsh chemicals such as bleach. That's not present here. I wasn't. Then you would have 2 sets of DNA when it's tested, which would benefit you.
Well, depends on whose DNA it is.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, this was another witness. Just wouldn't answer
So resentful.
questions.
That
He
would
was
benefit you. But what about John? Would it help John? If it... Yeah. Just kind of thought that was some context.
All right. Day 10. We're up to day 10.
Be 18 to 2 feet.
And we still got
Context.
Gallagher.
I understood that question was, did I wander the house to look for any sign of a struggle? I believe you asked me if I went to asked
To that area right there, which I'm highlighting.
Yes.
What is that?
That is the Arlo camera.
Can you orient the jurors for us, please, to what we're looking at
Oh,
in this photograph?
this is when he said that.
Angled downward.
And is it the front porch of that residence directly across the street from 34 Fairview?
It is not directly across from 34. It's actually more directly across from 32, so that would be incorrect.
Okay. Is it across the street from 34 generally?
It is, if Lieutenant Kelleher's house is here, 34 is over here across the street.
Okay. Is there a view from that front porch, just generally as you're standing there, if you were to turn 180 degrees and put your back to the door, is there a view of 34 Fairview as well as 32 Fairview?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay. Did you seek, and we can take this.
Angle downward.
down.
How wide angle is the lens?
Did you seek to?
Did you ask?
Secure any footage from that Arlo camera from Deputy Chief Kelleher?
I did not.
Did you talk to Deputy Chief Kelleher about that footage?
I don't remember specifically.
Did you ask him whether or not he'd reviewed the footage for a determination whether or not it caught any of the incident that may have occurred at or around 34 Fairview on January 29th, the early morning hours of January 29th?
I don't know if I did. I know it would not have.
How do you know it would not have?
Because I know what that camera captures.
How do you know what that camera captures?
Because I've picked up packages for Deputy Chief Kelleher in the past. I know it.
I've picked up packages for him in the past. What is, I mean,
and a portion of the front lawn.
So you've reviewed the Arlo footage from his iPhone?
He's just sent me a picture. Can I pick up when he's been on vacation? Can I pick up a package on the front step?
Okay. So,
yes, I've seen it.
So you've seen screenshots that Deputy Chief Kelleher sent you, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
But you've never looked at the actual application to see what it might encapsulate or what it might capture generally.
We've compared what we have our cameras set up as. We had communicated about security out of houses multiple times. I know we captured the front door and a portion of the front lawn.
Do you believe it would have been best practices to go ahead and secure that footage so we don't have to take anybody's word for it? We can actually look at the footage ourselves.
I didn't do that.
Do you think that would have been best practices to do that, just to have belt and suspenders? So there's no question about whether or not that camera that's facing, at least it's facing directly across the street, might have captured something of interest on the morning of January 29th, 2022.
To me, there was no expectation that it had captured anything, so I didn't think it was practical.
So because of your expectation, you didn't seek the footage and you didn't secure the footage?
Because of my knowledge and expectation, yes.
And you now know that footage is gone?
I would assume so. I'm not familiar with how long Arlo Mr. Jackson is asking.
So
then how did you two not know that Brian Higgins was there?
I don't know where. I'm confused. At what time?
Exactly.
At what time?
You're confused. Yes, we know.
John O'Keefe arrived.
Okay.
At Fairview after midnight on January 29th, 2022.
So when I discovered Brian Higgins was there, wasn't until I read the report.
When you were standing in the house, Sergeant Lang, you just told these jurors, knew that Brian Higgins and everybody else was there.
He had obtained the names. He hadn't written the report yet.
I hadn't told his.
yeah. So the cops are shitty too. I mean, this just whole thing.
Not
all right, meteorologist.
Snow is going to change to rain, that kind of thing. So we're getting very local.
As part of this guy's
weather information to help
testimony was about
the
the
cat.
cat.
Management concerns.
Track a
If you're
cat.
frowned upon
That's
access to
what
little
came out of
what types
his.
data or information is it that your company provides?
Let's see if we can
Mainly
find that.
precipitation timing, when snowfall might begin in a particular place, the intensity of the snow.
The evening of the 28th, how much snow accumulated on the 28th before turning the page to the 29th?
Very little, enough to track a cat, 0.2 of an inch.
Now, with reference to the 29th,
Enough to track a cat. That was the most fun that guy came out of
meteorologist
guy's testimony. Then Alessi crosses him, of course.
So we then
We get a cool. He did talk about the I think it's Blueberry Hill Observatory and the history of that. Then we get Garano again.
29 seconds. The defendant calls John. Voicemail on the 4 is left.
He goes through the voicemail.
It's coming.
And then we get 0.
Probably
Again, no
going to be enough that was objected
cross-examination.
to as hearsay. Not social media by and large seems to be.
Thank you, Your Honor. No questions for the witness.
All right, you are all set.
No questions. That was fast.
Do you have another witness?
I do.
Okay.
I have some other
Torino.
matters. Sure. I may.
It's no. Then we have
Remember which vehicle it was?
It was Canton 682, which is the supervisor's vehicle.
TD
We decided to go to Meadows for a well-being.
Charles Ray.
Did you learn that Mr. O'Keefe was brought to the hospital?
I did.
So this guy was the one that had the video of the car. Then we had the CERT guy. This is an example of a police officer who has his stuff together.
Normally, as the team leader, I'll function more of an incident command role behind the team.
Takes notes and he's got stuff written down and he knows exactly what he did.
All right, I'll move on at this point.
They're having tech problems.
Doing searches in Snowy
And AJ says, "Hey, did you do this? Did you do that?"
She had dropped him off.
And we're done for that day. Day 10 is done. Halfway through, and I've taken up almost an hour and 40 minutes. Jesus. I'm going to go quicker because, all right, let's see. Go back to Emily because what was day 11? I don't remember. So, oh, yeah, that was. So this was Connor Keefe. This was the guy that supposedly that went to the evidence bag. Oh, I screwed it up. This was about the biggest thing that he was the only one. He was the only one that attended the autopsy, basically. What was this? What was this? Oh, that's right. Jessica Hyde, the next witness, was not allowed to testify in a court in Maryland. He wants to bring that up, and he is not allowed to bring that up. Then immediately upon getting to cross-reference, he brings that up, and she gets turned down to say, no, you can't bring that up. So Jessica Hyde is next. She is the cell phone expert, supposedly, that said Jen McCabe, there's no way that she did that search. And for some reason, getting the twirly thing, and I'm not sharing. God damn it.
Now, do I think that's a
Sorry.
difficult
God
fact
bless
for the
America.
defense?
Ugh.
No. I think that's a really good fact
Went
for the
through all
defense.
that without fucking sharing.
If the defense is focused on Jen deleted these calls to be sus, they can focus on that. But if the defense focuses on these overwrote because she made 200 calls before she gave the phone, that's 100% right. A minimum of 200 calls. To their tech experts, I wonder if they will bring up Jen McCabe's call logs.
We got I'm sorry.
And I would direct your attention to the second page for the question I just asked you.
So Connor Keefe testified he didn't go through the autopsy. Jessica Hyde said that she didn't do the search.
Boy, he's just like, no wonder the court reporter yelled at him.
Leslie immediately gets to ask her.
Yes.
That was appalling.
Sure.
You can. Because, again, of the defense team, sometimes jurors are going to be like, they're doing their job for their client. Sometimes jurors are going to be like, are you trying to like pull one out you?
Basically, he's told he can't
some
ask her
documents
about
with
this.
you.
Absolutely.
You have several of them.
I do. It's the first
out
one.
there
I
now.
apologize. This is the one.
Prior
I believe
proceeding?
it's
I just need
100 pages long? Fuck. But
0.39 seconds later at 12:32:16. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So therefore, your statement in your
it's cross-exam, ma'am. You don't get to explain. It's the worst thing when you're an expert and you're like, but I can explain. And they're like, you don't get to explain. I get to ask yes, no questions. I'm in charge now, Phasma. And then we'll see if the prosecutor can let you explain or remember to let you explain. But I get to ask a bunch of yes, no questions. And then we get to get back. She's like, Yes, but nope. Nope.
All right. So, yeah, she basically testifies there was no house long a dying cold.
Okay.
Alessi pokes many holes in it. Then we get it does come out that the calls delete themselves after there's 200 calls on an iPhone. And the fact that Jen McCabe made 200 calls after this whole thing is kind of that's kind of suspect in its own right. All right, so then
yesterday was 34 Fairview.
Then we have the next 3 days are Yuri Buchanan. So 12, 13, 14, 15.
Advised him of the current status of the information that we had, and he
basically, this was 3 days of I remember everything that Brennan asks me, and anything that the defense asks me, I have no idea.
was located with photographs. Then one of the members of the individuals present would bag each item into a paper bag.
When they were bagged, would a person bagging them use any type of protection like you're using?
Let's see, where was the first shoe?
Wait, are you grabbing a different bag? Are you grabbing?
Yeah, so this was the sneaker mix. This was crazy.
This is the other sneaker.
Trooper, is that the sneaker that was at the hospital when you visited Mr. O'Keefe?
No, so this is the sneaker from
the sneaker.
She's got the bag on the other side. So he pulled up.
Sneaker.
Trooper, is that the sneaker that was at the hospital when you visited Mr. O'Keefe?
No, so this is the sneaker from 34 Fairview.
What?
Could I have that marked?
What? What?
Is that a left or a right sneaker, sir?
I thought the sneaker yesterday was...
Excuse me, this is the right sneaker from...
Bev's sitting there going, this is Yep, they got the wrong band sneaker.
Over, but did you want to give me those?
So then we
the
get
appearance is just so bad, even if the thing is not so bad. But there's no further explanation.
34 Fairview on February 3rd, 2022.
What location did you find it in?
It was close to...
Please.
Then we get...
Sir, can you...
Sense to me. You thumbs your work phone's the phone connected to your Apple Watch? Or multiple lesser included.
So then
nobody grabbed it.
Tape
Measure.
Oh my god, this is just
new. Oh no, we did see some of these to establish the size trial, but Camerano in the first trial, like right.
Okay. We go through all the drinks, but then this gets tampered down this time.
But okay, they do leave shortly thereafter. He is supposed to be.
He just gets to sit there and narrate a video. Then they come back and he doesn't get to narrate so much.
The straw protruding out of the glass.
Down.
Let's get it started. Where do we even start? Good afternoon, Trooper B. About that shoe, about that Sallyport video, about that
12,
Proctor.
Half a day of pretty much most of the day.
Thank you, Your
He's
Honor.
like, hold on, Your
Good
Honor.
afternoon. Correct?
I believe that human beings all have biases, but during the investigation, those biases do not affect, especially in this case, they did not affect any outcome of the investigation.
So I wasn't even talking about this case. I was talking about cases in general and your supervisory work. This. Do you believe that Michael Proctor, his involvement in this case, taints the investigation? Tainted the investigation?
No.
Not at all.
The investigation was done with honor, integrity, and all the evidence pointed in one direction only.
Honor and integrity by Michael Proctor?
Oh boy. Is that a question? His face.
Is that a question? I'm sorry.
Everything I say is a question. Honor and integrity by Michael Proctor?
Sustain to the comment.
Well,
No, because I'm not the case agent.
Testify to that.
So this could be a search warrant that you never even saw?
Because you're not the
Based
case
on what you're
agent.
presenting to me, never having seen or not having read all the details of it, I cannot say whether I've seen it before or not.
So you're not sure that Michael Proctor didn't just do the search warrant without your knowledge? As you sit here.
I don't know if this is truly Michael Proctor's documenting and processing scenes.
Just can't answer.
No, I did not.
I mean, this was basically 2 days of him not answering questions.
There would have been a conversation about why Higgins had an office as a federal ATF agent in Canton.
All right, then. So that's day 12.
Buddy.
Is there any evidence yet?
Look at these documents.
He got hit.
The jury-
Where's the evidence that that John O'Keefe got hit by a car? That's what we have not seen. We're day 13 of the trial in, and we have seen zero evidence that he was hit by a car. You just get smug.
There's a sticker March 9th of
point.
Commonwealth went through that video ad nauseum last trial with every single person that was at the waterfall. This
Then
time, Brennan's like
we
one
get
and
the
done.
Funniest thing is we get Yuri
About it
Buchnick
on.
has to
deal.
read
I told
all
you.
of
Just
the
think you're
text
like me.
messages
You
between
get angry easy.
Can you guys just FaceTime and figure this out?
What are you talking about? I'm
Karen
not angry.
Reed and Brian
Apparently,
Higgins.
Melissa's sister.
He gets all of the. He gets to read all of
You don't
these.
want to, that's fine. No pressure. I will. A drink? What do you drink?
And sitting at the Sally Port in Canton.
Then we get the video from the thing.
Was he standing with them, or was he closer to the bar? In the
Right there wearing the sweatshirt, multi-tone gray sweatshirt with the hood on it and his hat.
proceedings, correct?
Right.
Last
What the the interview produced. Yes, it is important to interview anyone that's an eyewitness. Sometimes it takes longer because. Are you listening?
Because.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Are you listening?
Are you listening? View those texts. February to August of 2022. And the world, this case would have been investigated, trooper. And again, I think that all cases should be well investigated. It has been my experience.
So an entire day of cross-reference to Yuri Buchnick.
The defendant told her
reference.
Pictures through the phone.
He wrote.
But again, if this sergeant says, I don't think he's searching for that.
And we get that.
I didn't read that.
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right.
Proctor has a First Amendment right to comment about the defendant in a investigation.
Other texts can come in through this witness. It's a lot of walking around.
And we get the Brian Higgins video.
Do you know Brian Higgins? From screen left.
Yes.
That look like they might be personal vehicles.
July, yeah, for the motion, yeah.
This was all new video from this case. It wasn't, given on the last case. We have the inverted Sallyport video and the corrected Sallyport video.
What is
and that answers your question. Norwood vis-a-vis
When
Canton.
you left and then arrived in Norwood.
Not the same. Not that Indiana's not lovely.
We have the
O'Keefe's phone.
Well, the all-encompassing data includes location of the device.
So Proctor recovered these alone. Brennan waited to see if the
Got it taped together. The longer one here.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I handed you a document. Do you recognize that package of materials?
And John O'Keefe having any animosity toward each other prior to January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
But you did. We talked about.
All right.
Talked about
Day
on January
14, Yuri's finally off the stand. We still have no evidence that John O'Keefe is hit by a car. And we have day 16. Then we have the wait, what days? We have 2 day 16.
their defense they expect will be about a week.
Side by side.
This
I
is
appreciate that
Marie
Alessi just talks
Hartnett.
through what he's doing. Emily, is that because you do the same thing? Probably. Probably.
And I'm not sure why. Hang on. She
I
start
think
on
it's a
day 15?
fantastic lesson in perspective and why perspective in
Yeah,
photos
okay,
and numerous
so-
crime scene photos matter.
Green Hartnett.
Go right ahead, Mr. Lally.
All right, thanks. Sorry, I
Thank you, Your Honor.
stay there.
Come here, closed captioning. I'm trying to move
All
it.
right,
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
We've got-
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Hard.
My name is Evan Brent, B-R-E-N-T.
Hello, Canton PD.
This is Zachary Clark.
And what was the purpose, or
Just
what was
wild.
described to you initially as the purpose of you responding to that location?
Yeah, the feed definitely got
The
rehomed.
request was made for me to assist in documenting a search warrant.
We're
that
gonna have a
was being
little over.
Oh, that's right. This was the guy who, I don't know what the hell. I don't think he did anything.
Approximately 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years. Or did you arrive there before him?
He was there before me.
When you got, to ask you if you
Yeah,
could
this
expound a little, when you
guy-
say excavated, what do you mean by that? What did you see?
These are the
being-
ones that went and found more taillight. Then we had
training and experience to determine what items I would like to test and what items I would like to collect.
Is it a little more, Ms. Gilman?
She-
Thank you. Starting at the bottom, what is that, ma'am?
Started at
That
the
is a
bottom,
close-up
now
of the
we're here.
scratches that I noted in that area.
Could you zoom out again, please?
Oh yeah, this was the
Is that on the back bumper or the right quarter panel?
I believe it's on the right bumper. It's a little difficult to make out in that photo.
It is difficult to make out in that
Could you zoom
photo.
again and move up just
Maybe we should have a
little higher,
photo
Mr.
that's zoomed out a bit so that you can see the positioning of the stickers and then zoomed in.
Thank you.
Just
You
me.
have another sticker on the top?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is an apparent hair that I noted.
so they had a whole
Exhibit
thing.
133?
The stickers, right?
So
So, Ms. Hartnett, on your
They're
direct
right
examination,
here.
you stated that there were 2 stickers and that there were therefore glass associated with each sticker, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, 2 stickers and glass associated with each sticker, correct?
Yes, correct.
In fact, there's only 1 sticker, and the second sticker is merely a reflection of the first sticker, and therefore, you have doubled the stickers and you've doubled the amount of glass on bumper. Can you see that? Can you determine that from the photo?
No, can I see the other photo, please?
Yes.
Okay.
So if we could, Your Honor, with your permission, go to Exhibit 130.
Is it a reflection?
this trial. This is another just one of those moments in this trial that you're like, what the hell? This is obviously a reflection. This is the bumper. This is the tail lift. This is the lift gate. There is no ridges on the lift gate. There is just metal. It is shiny metal. This is a reflection.
Let's continue on with. That's right.
Picking up. So therefore,
Absolutely,
we now
100% a reflection.
conclude, because of the reflection and because of the reverse B, that there is only, in actuality, and there was only in actuality, one sticker and 1 B, and therefore 1 volume of glass associated with this bumper.
I don't know specifically that is a reflection. It's not unusual for me to use the same letter on a sticker if I'm going to collect the items of evidence together. So if I had written it, on top or on the bottom of the scale on one of them and on the top of the scale on the other one, that is a possibility. It's difficult for me to tell by this picture.
What's your report
What I
say?
can tell you is that all the items of glass or apparent glass that are present on the bumper were collected together. I can't say specifically by looking at this photo whether I just label 2 separate areas to make the photo show the pieces better or if it is a reflection. I can't say.
So from what we just went through, you're not able to tell
And again,
that
for the defense. Today with
Obviously 100% a freaking reflection. Day 16.
Probably. Except in court, I was never like
Starts out-
asking anyone for help because it was just me.
Is it correct that what's
Emily,
on the
can you
left
put
is
this
the
up
right
again?
sleeve
Emily, that would
of
be
what we
great.
refer to as the hoodie, and on the
It's not your computer. It's not your internet.
no further questions. Again, thank you for answering my question.
Your Honor.
Ms. Hartnett, you are all set.
I wanted to correct something from the record yesterday. I wasn't sure when was
What?
appropriate to do that.
Okay.
What?
Want to correct the record. Like,
Yes, Mr. Leslie asked me a question.
Your Honor, are we going to proceed along with that?
So why don't I see you outside?
this is pretty much, I bet you this is her saying, oh crap, that is a reflection, but she's not allowed to do it. So then we get
in Massachusetts as far as doing examinations and autopsies?
No, I am,
There's
I work, my primary
40
location is,
On manner of death?
no, that's why I said that in cases that we cannot, that manner of death is classified.
her entire testimony comes down to he had a blunt force trauma injury and I wasn't able to determine a manner of death. That's it. That's
You issued a death certificate, correct?
Yes.
And please feel free to check your report with any dates or any other particular.
they do argue about hypothermia and stuff, and so this is going to be later on.
Law enforcement have gone.
Lucas machines can cause hemorrhaging, correct?
Yes.
And in fact,
And then just laying some foundation for their expert to come in later.
I'm going to put this at 1.25 until Brennan starts asking questions because he speaks pretty quickly and loudly at the beginning of his redirect. And we're getting to redirect.
In the investigation.
And then the, again, most ridiculous recrosses or redirect is Brennan just.
That police spoke to a first responder by the name of Timothy Nuttall, who reported that the defendant.
I'm going to allow it.
That the defendant said, I hit him. Were you aware of that
I became aware of it at some point.
during your 90-day window?
I believe so. Yeah.
But generally,
White.
I'm waiting for her to be like, well,
Is
would
that
it be a
different
fatality?
Relative to your expectations to lower extremity injuries.
objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Oh.
So he sat there and yelled at her. It's like, did you know this? Did you know this?
Like,
Did you know this? Did you know that? And she said, yeah, I knew that. And she still couldn't come up with a manner of death. So Brennan just basically kind of said, hey, all this evidence said that, or evidence, all these statements pointed towards that you should have called this a homicide. Why didn't you? But she didn't. So the defense should point out in their closing that the medical examiner, even with all of this hearsay evidence, still couldn't call it a homicide. So then we get more argument
They
about.
they needed 5 weeks, and they were given 5 weeks despite all the discovery deadline violations. They were given 5 weeks. We did not get the report until May 7th. And so we believe we are entitled to have our experts
So everybody wants
review
more
all
time.
materials, do his testing, provide opinions.
And I understand that it's very well understand the time of the day, so I'm going to do this hopefully efficiently. When we're talking about ARPA and the information of ARPA, it's very important analytically to put them in their two proper buckets. The first bucket is the information and opinions of ARPA that have been in existence since February of 2024.
Yeah, let's focus on the beyond. Let's focus on
Okay,
the
good, because my pithy conclusion is there should be no prejudice on that.
And I don't think the Commonwealth's even suggesting that. So
we're focusing just on the quote new information bucket. Your Honor, it's very important to understand that what ARCA is doing is in response to the I do not understand.
So I did leave open. I did leave it open to address.
You did leave open.
She is saying that she did leave open the
Information. We complied with that request to continually try to claim that there should be ongoing remedies of something that's already been decided. I do not understand.
So I did leave open. I did leave it open to address.
You did leave open the time, but Your Honor didn't leave open that you were going to
the prosecution will have to have their
continue
experts review
to
it.
address this matter as if the defense is making perpetual violations.
No.
There was a determination made, and
That's
then the
not what she
question
said.
was the remedy. So I'm just addressing the Commonwealth, positing that.
she did not leave open the fact that ARCA could testify. Now she's saying that she left open the possibility that ARCA can't testify. The corruption just runs through this trial. Okay, day 18.
In fact, the data that was downloaded was complete and was the right amount of data for
You're
each of those
so
chips. He was
red.
just wrong on the first.
Day
And we're
18
pulling that
is
raw data.
Man Shannon comes up. First we have
It allows us to run
DNA expert guy, DNA expert guy. Then we have
We look at the raw data from the chips that are removed from the board. So there's two ways to look at data, and one way is looking at the file system, similar to the file system you would see on your computer and you store documents.
Why the
same thing exists in
Document that I presented to you today, correct?
No, I would not agree with that.
Well, it's incorrect in this one, correct?
Correct.
And the one previously.
I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like this. I wouldn't have. I don't think this is something I would even conceive as fucking possible.
key aspect of your credentials.
It's incredibly
Whether
bad.
or not you have obtained a Bachelor of Science is incorrect in more than one document that I presented here today, correct?
No, I would not agree with that.
Well, it's incorrect in this one, correct?
Correct.
And the one previously,
I've
to
never
that,
seen anything like
there's
this.
two documents that have you.
For those of you who are like, Emily, why aren't you more mad? I'm still stunned. The mad will come. I'm still in disbelief and shock. The mad will come later. Like, stream glitched.
Yeah,
It was you.
we all remember this guy. Just, I mean, completely.
Correct.
Did you ever discuss that work with Dr. Welcher that he was doing?
No, I did not.
Did you ever review any of his work at any point, including up to the point where you?
All right, so day 19, more man Shannon.
Identified that chart that is depicted in Exhibit BBB for identification.
Yes, I did.
And is that a fair and accurate representation, sir?
No. it is not.
Okay. What I'd like to do is ask you a question about whether, in fact,
fair.
Mr. Whiffen identified.
No fair. Up to 29 seconds. 21 to 29. 3 seconds over. It still blows up because so much damage has been done to this witness's credibility. The Commonwealth has to prove the timeline. It's on them to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Well, then Brennan gets up and
And do you remember if that was around October 10, 2024?
That sounds familiar. Yes.
Would it refresh your recollection
Now,
to review your report?
when you were cross-examined, the attorney asked you if you knew what the word mendacity meant. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And you didn't know. Do you now know that means to lie or be untruthful?
Sustained.
Hey!
He didn't ask you a question. He just asked you if you knew what the word was. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember he also, on cross-examination, suggested that when you had your mistake about megabytes, megabits, it was the defense expert that alerted you to that mistake? Do you remember that suggestion by the defense?
Yeah.
This is probably one of the.
Is a bachelor's degree a
ridiculous
prerequisite of
meetings.
success in a particular field?
No, it is not.
You ever hear of Bill Gates?
Oh, good
Yes.
Lord.
Stephen Jobs?
Yes.
Oprah Winfrey?
So I put in the thumbnail for tonight. Little treasure, a little Easter egg in the good old thumbnail for tonight. And we're going to take a look at that because we're almost done here. I added some more celebrities to the thumbnail. Oh, shoot. I'm opening up in Photoshop. Whatever. Okay, so, oh, nope, that's not the right one. Dang it. All right, well. Recent. Okay, so I decided to add a few more celebrities to the good old thumbnail tonight. Because this has turned into a celebrity trial. So as you can see, we have a few more celebrities. We have Regis, and then we added Man Shannon there. All right. So we got Man Shannon. And then I added a little bit of Bill Gates down here. And I you know, these are kind of probably some older pictures. So there's Oprah, but I wanted to get what would Steve Jobs look like now? So I added the Steve Jobs picture to the thumbnail. Over there in the corner. So that's probably representative of what Mr. Jobs looks like at this current moment. Thanks, Grok. Thanks, Grok, for the and then we added a taillight and Man Shannon. Had to add those guys. So yeah, that's my thumbnail for tonight.
The degree is not the
Sorry,
point.
I had to do that.
The degree has never been a point. The point. The degree is not the point. The representation is the point.
Not
Celebrate for the cars. Great.
acquiring all the data that is on the SD card itself.
You have drafted a number of reports in this case.
Mr. DeSogra.
Was there anything about that analysis that concerned you?
So,
this
we're going to address that
redirect goes
pretty
on and on
early
and on and on and
into the room
on.
with this judge and says, I would like.
What is the base? Do you start with the text stream event and you add, or do you start with Mr. O'Keefe's phone and subtract?
Sure. So we could do it either way because we're wanting to compare this against other events that happened.
Exhibit EEC. Do you recognize the second stated in the document?
We have the fact that his CV was represented wrongly.
Do with the published first request permission. Exhibit 193 that we were just talking about.
I swear, if you
Yeah, man, Shannon.
194. Required to
Christina
complete a written exam as well as a competency test.
All right. And finally, day 20. One of
what the court said. Let's play.
The most interesting day. So first we have the jury gets reprimanded for whatever they got reprimanded for. Each juror had to be interviewed. Then we have a good doctor. So
surgeon in could take 15 minutes, could take 3 hours. The same thing for a vascular surgeon, the same thing for a neurosurgeon. Dr. Colley came up with the concept that you needed a center that was strictly for trauma, and every attending had to be in the hospital 24/7.
So brings in this doctor. He's a very good witness. I mean, he basically says that John O'Keefe died from a blunt force trauma, right? He's on the stand he's a very busy man. He's from Miami. He's on the stand for 40 minutes or so from Brennan. Brennan loves his redirects. He loves to take and extend out those redirects to rehash his points. So Alessi's cross-examination of basically 5 minutes.
Acted as a forensic pathologist.
I am aware that the ME described that. Yes, sir.
Did you see
his O'Keefe had a laceration to the outside area?
The main question
of
is
right upper eyelid.
I am aware that the ME described that. Yes, sir.
Did you see it in the pictures? He should have seen it in the pictures too.
Could, Your Honor, I'm going to, with Your Honor's permission, ask to publish what is already in evidence in a moment.
Okay.
Mr. Wolf,
What exhibit number, Mr. Alessi?
we're going to, 165, Your Honor.
Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you. Dr.
If I have.
Is it correct that that injury on the upper right eyelid is caused by the application of force directly to that area of the front of the head, again, namely the upper eyelid?
That's possible, yes.
Is it more than possible? Is it probable that that injury was caused by the application of force directly to that area of the front of his head?
Well, an easy answer to that would be is that that's not part of the periorbital ecchymosis.
Thank you, sir. That was exactly going to be my next question. This injury is unrelated to any of what you've been describing, the fall backwards, the force transfer inside the skull, the, as you described it, the dura, the cerebral spinal fluid, all of that dynamic that you so ably described on your direct examination. This injury has nothing to do with that, correct?
Correct.
Thank you for answering my questions.
My questions. I don't know if you heard Travis say, but Mom, I don't know life skills. I'm Gen Z. He does know life skills. He does. It's a busy day. Texas, Katie did said husband.
Brief follow-up on that?
Questions, Dr. Wolf?
Wait, are we
Pleasure
done?
Again? No more questions at this time, Your Honor.
Brief follow-up on that?
No, thank you.
All right, Dr. Wolf.
All right.
And he's done.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Let me
Because
get
for the defense.
family back on the
For the
stand.
defense.
Clear plastic from the debris.
Yes, we're at 1.25.
Was found to be consistent
the-
in color and instrumental properties to the clear plastic.
Get this awesome demonstration.
A and B do not match the cup in 3-2.
This is just completely, and this is going to be in evidence. The jury, I believe, is going to be able to see this. I believe they got this into evidence. And so they're going to be able to see this. Jury's going to be able to take this back with them.
She has confirmed that everything on it is accurate, and the court
Take one over.
probably what they want to sidebar about is the prosecution has an exhibit because she has confirmed, and the court allowed it into evidence. It's probably what they want to sidebar about is the prosecution's
allowed it in evidence.
objection on that.
7-14.
This awesome chart is going to be back with the jury. Then, so Lally gets
Okay,
mad.
we're back to
Single piece of glass.
Jackson started talking before Lally even sat down.
Your
conclusions that class was consistent with 6 different people, and you also found a teen that was found in the roadway outside of 34 Fairview Road. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you also found that items from 7-18.18, the debris from Mr. O'Keefe's clothing, were consistent with the item 3-1, the taillight housing, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Sustained as to form.
Now, as far as the chalk
It was
that you
incomplete.
were presented with on
Question.
cross-examination, was there anything in there about item 7-18.18 or item?
Yeah, so Lally starts yelling. Then they're dismissed
all
for
wanna
the
know?
next 5 days. And that's it. Nothing in the first 20 days of this trial has showed that John O'Keefe was hit by a car. Nothing. Now, they have Judd coming up on Monday. Nothing. Again, we know that Jen McCabe lied to the FBI. We know that that the MEA was not able to make a determination on a manner of death. We know that Trooper Proctor did all this stuff on the case, but they're not calling him because he's been disciplined. They know that there was animosity between other people that the cops did not investigate, between John O'Keefe and Brian Higgins specifically. We know that the cops did not investigate anything else but Karen Reed. But we have no direct evidence whatsoever that John O'Keefe was hit by a car. So that is 20 days of testimony. So is everything going to come together on Monday or Tuesday? It's not even Monday, it's Tuesday. Yes, we'll see. Yes, we will see. Let's see. Was there anything else? I think I had bookmarked something I wanted to. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about one last thing on Man Shannon. Jessica Mikado is not in the courtroom, but she's still investigating this case. So she reached out with a Freedom of Information Act. Now, you remember, in 2023, it was filed with the federal court that he was supposed to graduate in 2024 with this degree in general science that doesn't exist. So Jessica Mikado, with a Freedom of Information Act, asked the University of Alabama at Birmingham about the enrollment of Mr. Shannon Burgess, Man Shannon. Shannon attended the University of Alabama at Birmingham from August 29th, 2016 through August 9th, 2019. 3 years he went there. Please let me know if this is sufficient. Oh, this is very much sufficient. So you're telling me in 2023, you were not even attending school. You were not going to school in 2023, yet you let it be known to a federal court that you were supposed to graduate in 2024 with your degree. If this is very interesting information because they have set it up that they could potentially recall. We've got the train going by outside. They could potentially recall Man Shannon to the stand. But will they? Because if that's out there, if that's public information, then do you think they could ask him about that? Well, you weren't even in college in 2023. How were you going to graduate in 2024 you were not attending school in 2023? And I thought I saw something about a police chase, but I'm not seeing it now. CBS. Let's see, can we find CBS LA? CBS LA. ACAL News. Are they live right now? No, It says it's live. What the hell? Guess that was earlier. Maybe that was earlier. All right. Well, if there's no, I was going to say, maybe we'll watch a police chase for a little bit, but all right. Okay. 20 days of testimony, 4 weeks of this trial. Do you realize that trials don't normally, even murder trials normally don't last this long? They don't keep going on and on like this. You made a good point that there's been 2 recent, murder trials that have gone on, and it's escaping me now, but they went on for like 10 days, maybe. Still don't know why I can't search here. This is dumb. Come on, X, get it together. I should have saved that. Maybe I did. Let's see. And then tomorrow there's some more filings in the exactly with the glass yesterday, and the it doesn't match the cup. Yeah, with that chalk is basically. So, this got noted. Oh, neat. Look at this. Okay, so one last thing here. Yesterday, Fox News put out this weird thing that said, shaken, not stirred. After the defense timeline was blown up by an expert on the case, Karen Reed and Alan Jackson appeared to have heated talk in the courtroom. So, this is completely 100%. Does this look like heated conversation? I mean, how is that heated? Because she's moving her hand? Community note. Reed is actively involved in her legal defense. She attends sidebar and can often be seen discussing legal strategy. The video doesn't represent anything uncommon. The credentials, methodology, and truthfulness of the prosecution's witness came under significant scrutiny. So if Fox News is saying that man Shannon blew up the prosecution's case, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. None. This was another meme. This was the beginning of Man Shannon's report. Timeline. Real collision, more collision on January 30th by Shanno Burgess, PhD. Oh, this made me crack up. That was one of the funniest damn things I saw. The Reed timeline. Oh my God, that's so funny. The MSP arrested Erica Walsh, the one who was wearing the sweatshirt, before they arrested Matthew Farwell. So yeah, and then a little throwback at John, the PB there. And we've gone through that one. But yeah, so he wasn't even attending the university in 2023, so there's no way he would have graduated in 2024. So, all right. Big announcement tomorrow. Big announcement. It has to do with with our show. Mistakes were made. And we will announce that tomorrow on the Friday night, Northland Friday night. Jody will be there. She doesn't have a show this week. She thought she did, but she doesn't. So she's going to be there. So we will get together tomorrow night and rock on. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out with me, putting up with me, not sharing screens because I can't get that down. That's why I just stuck with Emily to the end because I didn't have to change who I was sharing. But I appreciate it. Say a prayer for my mama, if you will. It sounds like everything is going great. Oh, I just got a text with the room number. Excellent. All right. So yes, everybody have a lovely night. And I will see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Alaska time, 11 o'clock Eastern. And yes. So, okay. And, oh, yeah, we'll just run the same outro as we did last night. All right. Good night. Have a wonderful day tomorrow.
Introducing Agent Charles Walker from the Federal Enforcement Division, or Fed.
Misinformation is getting to be a very serious problem. It really interferes with what we are trying to do.
And what are you trying to do?
Excellent question. I'm afraid that's classified. You don't have the clearance.
Agent Walker is always a team player and appreciates the efforts of his colleagues.
You know those bum idiots. This is all them. We had a solid case.
Agent Walker is a master interrogator and would never take things out of context to influence an interview.
My cousin Mindy is the bomb. I'm just seeing a lot of incendiary and violent language here. Somebody could see a call to action in these words.
A call to action for what?
Well, you tell us. They're your words. You wrote them.
Agent Walker, a calm, patient presence in the fight against misinformation.
These people can't even do stuff that's actually good enough for government work.